asked to repeat and show again in my Instagram stories is how I crop without using the crop tool. I have never in my 14 years of being a professional photographer liked using the crop tool. It always messes with the pixels and it will shrink an image down. Obviously now our image size, with mirrorless cameras and DSLRs is much larger than it used to be. But I just sort of got into the habit of cropping this way, and it saves me so much time in editing, and it won't crop off when you start to crop, especially if you have to straighten an image. If you're doing this in Lightroom or if you're using the crop tool, it will sometimes, crop off a head, a foot, or part of your image that you don't want to lose. So I do it this way instead. I have actions for literally everything that I use all the time. So I just run to duplicate my layer. So now I'm working on the background copy. Then I select my move tool. I will back out my image if I need to, and I just move the image, and then I control tab through to switch from image to image. I also have an action to fit these back to my screen. I am a firm believer that anything you can do to speed up your workflow by creating actions for things that you do over and over again is going to be beneficial to you. So once I find myself using something in Photoshop, I will just create an action to run that so that I don't have to click through every image. So you can see I am just going through all the images of this little beauty's cake smash. Control tab is something that I use to just click through the images quickly, using my move tool to get them where I want it. Especially with cake smashes, I am a continuous shooter, so I will move around obviously, but for the most part, I will stay in the same spot to capture all of their little movements, but my backdrop gets cut off. I don't want to go through and paint all of that. I leave enough room for cropping for the families for whatever size prints they're going to create. I am a very simple shooter, so I don't use a ton of props, which makes this process all the more easy. You want to be sure that when you have your move tool selected, your bounding box is showing. It'll show you all the points that you can click, and it will keep things together for you. If you have an image that's not straight, which I struggle being a straight shooter, you can rotate it as well while you're doing this. I want this one a little bit bigger, and that's it. All of those cropped very quickly. Now I'm just going to flatten them. I'm going to use my action to fit them back to my screen so that I can do my finishing editing, and I will be done. I'm going to show one more example from another shoot where I have to, sorry, give me 1 second, where I have to straighten it. This one right here, where I have to straighten it, I have to fix that. I don't want to crop off his hand, so I'm going to use a little AI to help me there. If I cropped this using the crop tool, either his hand or his foot would get cut off while I'm straightening it, because as you straighten it, it is closing the image in to conform to the size that you shot it. I am not going to worry about this side or down here. I'm going to turn off my background. I'm going to have AI do this for me to get rid of the top of that seamless roll. I'm going to have AI, Photoshop must have done an update because it's telling me how to use this when I already know how to use this. Being careful to avoid his hand. So again, if I had to straighten this image because of how close I shot it with the crop tool, I would have cut something off somewhere. Instead, I was able to use my move tool and I did not lose any parts of him. So I hope this helps you guys. If you have any questions, obviously leave it in the comments below. And I will see you again soon with some more tips and tricks.